just, I want to do an audio test real quick. And so what I'm going to do is pull up one of my videos, and just in the chat, I need you all to tell me if you all can hear the audio on the screen, okay? Let's see. Sup, Dags? Stay strong. What's going on? All right, let me know if you all can hear that audio. And it might just be subject to that particular channel that I'm streaming right now, so I'm not sure. Okay. Did you all hear the audio on the PC? Just type a 1 in the chat. And like I said, I'm sharing the particular screen audio that I have it sharing on right now, so it might just be subject to that particular tab. Okay, no, you could not. That's actually probably a good thing. So there's no sound right now because they're not live. So what we'll do is we won't miss anything. We will actually, whenever they start streaming live, we will be streaming on that channel. So I wanted to go ahead and, yeah, you can hear me. That's good. But you can't hear the screen because I have it set to a particular screen to share that audio only. So that's actually a good thing. So it's working how I wanted it to. It's just when Kay gets on here with me, you might hear a kind of an echo, or she may hear an echo on her end. StreamYards has where you can only share the screen audio, or you can have it coming through your headset. So let me go through speakers, test. Okay. Actually, I looked it up. It's supposed to start in 10 minutes. So that's why I went ahead and went live, just so you all can, you know, jump in here and get ready. And I'm going to go ahead and mute until it starts. Yeah. So give a chance for people to go ahead and get drinks, snacks, whatever you want to do. I've got everything set up and ready to go here. And let me add you to the stream. There you go. Hey.
Hey there, sorry, it kicked me out for some reason.
Oh, you're fine.
AJ says hi.
Hey, AJ.
Is
it okay? Is it okay if I call you Kay?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's what everybody calls me, so.
Kay, Katie, whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter. Some people call me Brenda because of Mel Mel. Look at her.
RedRum.
Yeah, and then there's that.
Hey, Northwest Fighter. Thanks for coming on here.
Hey,
People who ask for a wrench, what they say? People who ask for wrench should never be wrenches. I agree. I agree.
Gotta be careful with those wrenches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is a bit of an echo just because of the way I have to set up the audio right now. So whenever I stop screen sharing, I will change the audio settings. StreamYard does not give us the option to use both. Unlike OBS, which if my computer was strong enough, I would be using OBS right now. Oh, thanks, Stay Strong. I appreciate it. Hey, Neil, what's going on? Thomas. Yeah, sorry about the echo. It won't last for very long, okay? I'm going to go ahead and mute and just give you all a chance to pile up in here, and I will be back. Yeah, we're just waiting on the live stream and for the court proceedings to start. So, like I said earlier, if you all weren't here and you're just now tuning in, go ahead and get your drinks and your snacks. Hopefully, this doesn't take too long. It was supposed to start about 7 minutes ago. So, all we can do is wait. And I've got it sharing on the actual live video screen. So, as soon as they start streaming, we'll be able to hear it. So, much love, you guys. And thanks to the people in the chat for waiting and also the people that watch the replay.
5903 now.
Non-attorney spokesperson. Attention landscapers and anyone working in the landscape industry.
Yeah, guys, I will randomly mute it whenever there's a commercial on, so just wanted to let you know.
Welcome back to Court TV Live and our continuing coverage of the state of Texas versus Amber Geiger, the penalty phase. This is day 2. Judge Kemp is back standing right behind her seat, getting ready for the jury, as presumably the jury's on the way in, and she's watching them do just that. As soon as they get going, we will send you back in to the courtroom. And today we are expecting the following. We're expecting the state of Texas to finish up their portion of this penalty phase, which they've articulated. They have a couple more live witnesses that'll come in and testify. We don't know if they're family members, coworkers, or what their relationship is with the victim in this case, Botham Jean. And then there's going to be a little bit of a break, Judge Kemp said, to allow the defense to huddle and basically strategize to figure out the big question. Do we bring Amber Geiger back on the stand to try to help herself? Because right now things do not look good for her. Will they do that? While they have that little break, they'll make that decision, and then it'll be the defense's turn. Amber Geiger's mother is expected to testify. Other friends and family expected to get on the stand and humanize her. Take her from this gun-wielding racist cop that the prosecution has successfully created during the beginning of this phase of the trial and turn it around, try to turn it around so that she can reduce the sentence that this jury is going to be delivering. Again, a reminder, 8 women and 4 men on this jury. They decided her guilt, came back guilty after 6 hours of deliberation of murder in this case, and now they, the same group of 12, will decide the correct punishment. Keith Lamar and Holly Waltman are here as we wait for Judge Kemp to continue proceedings here. There were a couple late jurors, which happens in every case. Somebody's got traffic issues, what have you. This is that point of the trial for the defense, and I can only imagine what Amber Geiger is going through at this point, hearing all of that yesterday and making that decision. How much of her willingness and eagerness to get on that stand factors into this decision to put her on? Because if she's not ready to roll, and if she's not in the mindset to absolutely knock it out of the park, it could backfire big time.
Absolutely. She has everything to lose here. But ultimately, if she decides she's taking the stand, no one can stop her. It is absolutely her right. She will be the person that is serving this time, and she has the final say in whether or not she gets up there. I think that it would be a very challenging thing to do. And really, if I'm her attorney and I'm trying to keep her off the stand and she's insisting that she's going up, I'm going to save her till the very end. She's going to be the very last witness I'm going to call. And I'm going to stretch out everyone else in front of her in order to put some time between what they've just heard, what they've just seen from her text messages and her social media, and their final decision.
Yeah. Keith, you agree?
I agree. You know, it's one of those things where she's not fully confident in herself, and if you're talking to her in custody and you're talking to her at the side of the stand and she's not fully confident,
Or maybe she's too confident in herself,
or too confident, right? So if you think you're gonna go up here and say, like, what are you trying to say? You know, you got to listen to what she wants to say. So if she's trying to say something crazy, then you don't really want to do that. But at the end.
Yeah. Oh, right. Keep her if she does want to get. Yeah.
Yes.
And she's just come off her first night in jail. She was on bail from the very beginning after this incident took place. So last night was Amber Geiger's first night in a jail cell as a convicted murderer. So her mental state could be very different. I mean, she knows she's going to prison and going to prison for an extended period of time, no matter what. She may be the last person you'd want to put up on the stand in her own defense because of her mental state. I mean, who knows the level, how she's handling this?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you just got told you convicted of murder. That's the highest charge in the land.
And she's an officer.
And she's an officer.
So wherever she's headed with other people that are convicted of very serious, violent offenses, she now is a very famous target. Yeah, she's a target. She is a female in prison. She's going to be with murderers and violent felons.
And she's the white cop that killed the most innocent African American man on earth.
The man that sings gospel in Drake.
Right. Again, and that's a whole nother discussion. Her life in prison, no matter what this jury decides in terms of an appropriate sentence, is going to be difficult because it'll be a lot of solitary, not because she's being penalized in solitary, but because she's being protected.
For safety reasons, you got to do it.
Yeah. On the same token, I'm sure she'll get treatment, special treatment on some level from the folks at the jail or prison, wherever she ends up. One thing we did hear this morning is that the leg irons that she wore, presumably coming into court today from the jail, they are being taken off of her legs before the jury gets in there. The state had no objection to that. That's pretty standard. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's very standard.
Absolutely.
When you come in there, as a trial, even for people that don't make bond, right? You don't want them during their trial to be shackled up the whole time. That's not really a fair trial.
Or in a jumpsuit, right? Like last night, she did not sleep in these clothes. She did not have some nice folded pajamas. She was given a jumpsuit last night. And of course, she is changed and will be looking more presentable and more professional in an attempt to keep their minds open until they've heard the law and all the evidence.
Right. And there are some cases where the defendant has a history of violence where they do have them shackled underneath, away from the jury. And I'm sure she came in today shackled underneath because they had to make a request to the court to please, take these off of her. Because even a clank, if you hear that as a juror, it reminds you that this person is a criminal, and criminals belong in jail or prison. All right. Let's say let's do this. Yeah, as the judge is still waiting, we're still waiting apparently for a juror. Let's take a quick break here, and we will get you back into the courtroom right after this.
Hey, Kay. Kay.
Hey there. Sorry, I had to make sure I muted my YouTube.
Oh, it's okay. Do me a favor. I'm going to unmute the computer audio real quick and just tell me if you can hear it on your end. Are you
Okay.
watching the stream?
Yes.
Okay.
Go up and your coverage never goes down for as long as you live.
How will I know the... No, I can't hear the audio when you mute it.
Daggone it. You couldn't hear it at all? I just unmuted for like a second, so there's a delay.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't hear any of the audio.
Okay, hold on just a second. I'm going to wait until it comes back on, and then I'll ask the people if they can hear it. Because I'm hearing everything through my headset, which is weird. And they can still hear my screen audio.
I know we were talking yesterday about like maybe she could get out on an appeal bond if she was sentenced like 10 or under years. And I actually found out yesterday, I was watching WFAA and they had, sorry, I don't know. Hold on a second. This song starts randomly playing on my phone all the time and it drives me nuts. But there was a defense attorney named Justin Moore who was on there talking, and he said that back in 2017, they actually changed it to there's a stipulation to that appeal bond, and you can't actually get out if you are charged with murder and convicted of murder. So she will not be able to get out on appeal.
So she will not be able to appeal it.
She'll be able to appeal, but she will not be able to get out of jail while she's on appeal. She cannot request that because she's been convicted of murder.
Okay, but she can request an appeal for a new trial.
Yeah, she'll be able to request the appeal, which we already know she'll do that. But so there's a lot of stuff that says that, you know, it hasn't been updated since 2017. And it says that as long as they have been sentenced to under 10 years, when they request an appeal, they can actually get out of jail on an appeal bond if the judge will let them. And this just isn't the case because it's changed and she's been convicted of murder.
Good to know.
Yeah, there's also no problem. There's also, so I also found out by listening to some of this stuff last night that there's been 4 people that have been charged with similar or the same charges in Dallas County, and 2 have been sentenced. And I think if I am remembering correctly, the sentences were between 10 and 25 years for both of them. They were both convicted. And
okay, it's coming back on.
Okay.
The state is taking the stand there. This is Alexis Stossel. She is a friend of the victim, Botham Jean. Let's listen in.
Yes, sir. You might adjust the microphone.
Good morning, Ms. Stossel. Please state your name and spell your name first and last for the court reporter.
My name is Alexis Stossel, Alexis, last name Stossel.
And Ms. Stossel, how did you know Botham Jean?
Botham and I first met at Harding my junior year, it's 2013. We had both been selected to sit on the College of Business Student Advisory Board. So there are about 10 or 12 students that are recognized as leaders as part of Harding University. And we sat on a board together to work to improve the business building and to help improve students during their time at Harding and after. I had always known of Botham. I mean, everybody knows Botham, but I had never met him until the day that we sat on that board. And after that day, we were best friends ever since.
Is it fair to say that Botham was your person?
Yes. Next to my husband, Botham was my absolute person.
During your time at Harding, how did you recognize Botham affecting the students on campus?
Botham was a natural leader. I mean, in every aspect between friendships, groups that he was involved with, he took a leadership role. People gravitated towards him. It didn't matter if you didn't know him personally or you just were in the same room. You just felt welcomed by his presence.
Excuse me. And how did your husband and Botham get along?
I always joked that once I had introduced the two of them, that it was me that was the third wheel because they talked nonstop about sports and life.
I think she's
And
very,
anytime
very
something would happen
nervous.
in the NBA, oh man, Botham would immediately text my phone and say, I got to talk to Jacob. And I finally was like, you have his number, just call him. I don't want to talk about sports. But they love to get together and we used to hang out a lot.
Right.
Can I push the finish line?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been identified as State's Exhibit 333, 339, 340,
I'm not sure what this has to do with the sentencing
342.
phase, though.
343,
Kind of confusing.
344, 345, and 346. Have you seen these photos before?
I have.
And will these, I'm sorry,
Was the first one you mentioned 333?
did I say, I'm sorry, 338, Your Honor.
Okay.
338.
Yeah, I've
346.
never seen this be done before.
Thank you. And you've seen these photos before?
I have.
And do you think these photos would help the jury understanding our discussion about both of them?
Absolutely.
Maybe a Texas thing. Maybe.
State tendering 338 through 346 to the Pennsylvania election.
So, okay, I have the audio fixed to where you can talk and not echo now. Just letting you know. In case you want to chime in.
This also, after you met.
Okay, awesome.
Well, let's go back a little bit. What type of activities was Botham involved in on the campus of Harding University?
Botham was a part of the Rock House, which is it's a community outreach center that's ministry based. He worked directly beneath.
Kind of like, I
Todd
think this is
Gentry
kind of like a
as sort of
victim's
ministry
advocate
intern.
type deal. They're
Together,
just
the Rock
speaking,
House,
good about the victim.
helps put on License for Christ, which
But I
Botham
still don't see why it
helped
has to do with the
organize
sentencing.
most of it. The students
It's
of
kind of
Harding,
confusing.
roughly about 3,000 people, we come together for a weekend and we go into the community and we help anyone in need, whether it be, fix up their house, move things around for them, or take them somewhere. And Botham was a big part of putting that all together and kind of rallying the student body to make them want to be more involved. And make
Lisa,
them want
this
to reach
just
out and help
started,
the
so
community.
nobody has spoken
He
on
was
her
also
behalf.
in a social club at Harding. It's called Sub T16. He was very prideful of his club. It's a great way to get to know other students and get more involved at Harding. He was very heavily involved in the College of Business, which he majored in accounting, and he was a part of many different teams, both competitively in the College of Business and then in classes, and then like the student advisory board that we sat on together. And of course, he led worship at Harding University. It's a Christian-based college, and every day they have what's called chapel, which is 30 minutes of time where the student body meets together. They take time to worship God and get general announcements. And he was a leader with chapel as well.
And you talked about Todd Gentry, and he was here with us in the program for the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
And he had to go back to Arkansas this morning.
He did. I like to call the Gentrys Botham's Arkansas parents. They were wonderful people that mentored him throughout his entire college career.
Now, when you and Botham became friends, had you were already dating your husband?
I actually was not dating my husband yet. My husband and I began dating about 6 months after Botham and I had met.
And how did that relationship go when you tell your husband, my guy, my person is a male friend?
Well, Botham and I like to always say that we were the exception to the rule that boys and girls can't be friends. And I told my husband, I said, hey, I love you, but this man is going to be in my life forever. And he's going to be a part of us forever because, thank you.
Oh, poor
Because I
thing.
can't imagine living life without my other person.
At some point in Stossel, did you and Botham come back to Dallas?
I graduated in May of 2015. And that was when Botham started his internship at PwC. So I was starting a career and he was beginning kind of, the end phases of his college career and starting his own. And we kind of took on Dallas together. We didn't really know anybody. We had a few alumni here in Dallas, but he and I, we did everything together. I mean, sometimes he would just show up on the doorstep of my apartment with Chipotle and just say, I've got to watch Scandal, and just be quiet for an hour. So we would just hang out all the time.
What was his name?
I think I may need to get some tissues.
So, as you can tell from a lot of photos and things that you see of Botham, he stood out. And in every caption of every photo, he always made me say, you have to put your black friend Botham. So a lot of the captions in our past has got, me sitting next to him and it says, here's my black friend Botham.
And what did he call you?
He called me Big Tex. I am obviously very tall, and I'm originally from Texas. And he said, Alexis just wouldn't do. So he always referred to me as Big Tex.
Did he refer to you commonly also as Alex?
Sometimes, but not very often.
And did you come to learn that his parents thought you were a boy named Alex?
He did. The first time I met his parents, they were kind of confused because they knew my name, but they had never met me in person. And then once I had told them some stories, they were like, oh, we had thought you were a boy this whole time.
Now, Ms. Stossel, I'm going to show you some photos, and I want you to kind of tell the jury about some of these photos, okay? Okay. I'm showing you the Martha States Exhibit 346. And is that Botham?
Yes. So this is taken at Harding. This is a part of his social club, Sub T16. When you're a part of a social club, you get a jersey with the club's name on it, and every Friday you wear that jersey on campus and all around. And something that Sub T is very much known for when they take photos is you look away with a thumbs up across your chest. So that is the classic Sub T stance at Harding.
Now, at some point, you and your husband were married, of course. What role did Botham take in that ceremony?
So I wanted Botham to be a part of the wedding, but more so I wanted his voice to be a part of our wedding because he had such a unique voice and just a speaking voice. So he was the MC at our wedding. So he introduced everybody and he was in charge of the playlist and made sure that we cut the cake on the right time and danced on the floor. And so he was there the whole time.
And I'm showing you the Martha States Exhibit 338. And what was that from?
That's from the night of our wedding. And that was taken just at the reception hall.
And so you told us a little bit of how Botham and your husband became close fast friends. What kind of things that you all did together as a group?
Besides the usual cookouts at our house or at Botham's apartment, we went to all kinds of sporting events together. A firm that I had worked for, I had the opportunity for a lot of free tickets to Mavericks games and to Stars games, and Botham demanded he be a part of that all the time. And so I think we saw 7 or 8 NBA games one season, and Botham was at every one of them.
And I'm showing what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 339. And who are those individuals in this photo?
That's myself and Botham and my husband, Jacob. The caption you don't see on that photo is me and Jacob with our black friend, Botham.
When you all returned to Dallas, did Botham and yourself attend church together?
We did. On Tuesday nights, we would go to church together, and we would just worship together. And when we would listen to the sermon, we would both take notes. And then after church, we'd go find somewhere to eat, and we would compare whether we agreed with what the sermon said based on what the Bible says, or what we would have done differently. And that was our spirits, is we were always taking a situation and looking at it from every angle and seeing if we agreed or not.
I'm showing what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 340. Do you remember this?
I do. That is, that was taken right after church. That's another Harding alumni. And Botham and I, right after church.
And then State's Exhibit 341. Do you recall when this photo was taken?
I do. This photo is taken right after Botham and I became good friends. The College of Business has a cookout every year for their business students. It's kind of where you get to see what different clubs they offer. I was the president of the management club, so I had to man a booth, and Botham was just there walking around, getting to know all of the new students and meeting everybody, and somebody snapped that photo.
Was Botham the friend who would do almost anything for his
She's
friend?
already been charged
Oh, yeah.
guilty for murder.
You
In
could volunteer
Texas,
him for
there's not
something
a
and he'd
first
show up
or
acting like he
second
volunteered
degree.
himself.
Just wanted to let you all know in case you don't know that.
And
She
at
is
one
getting
point, did
anywhere
he
from 5
officiate the
years
wedding
to
of some of
99
your
years.
classmates?
That is what they
He
are
did.
going to decide on today.
Caitlin and Exie are 2 really, really good friends of both of ours. And they asked him, they wanted him to be a part of their
Now,
wedding.
what I
and they
was going to
asked
say
him
is,
be
if
official.
that was her apartment,
And I'm showing you what's been marked
then
as
the
State's
My
Exhibit
Castle would
342.
stand. I don't believe she would have been charged. The fact is, it was not her apartment.
It is.
She
And at the bottom left, you
basically,
can see both of them.
just because she was a cop, take that out of the equation. She would have
Exie is ECC.
been a regular citizen walking in to somebody's home, shooting them.
343.
That's why she got murdered.
It is.
Where was that?
We need to take all of that
Okay.
stuff
It was in
out of the
Nashville, Tennessee.
equation.
And how'd you get there?
That's why she was charged.
So I am from East Texas.
There cannot be no,
and It's
oops,
actually
I
shorter
made a
to
mistake.
drive,
I thought it was my apartment.
from East Texas to Nashville than
Sorry.
Dallas by 1 whole hour. So
An
both of them
innocent man was
drove
killed.
to our house the night before.
And the whole thing about this
the
race
rehearsal
card
dinner
being
was,
played,
and Botham and I
you know, this
got
white
in a
on
car
black.
and drove 10 hours straight
I
to
don't agree
Nashville
with that
together.
whatsoever, but of course it's going to be
And
played.
what was that road trip like?
It's going to be played. And like I said, there
It
is
was
a
so
Trump
much fun.
rally on October 17th.
Botham and I had
And
already moved back to East
there's
Texas, so I
already-
didn't get to see Botham as much during that time.
There's already
And
people screaming,
we spent the whole 10 hours
um,
just singing songs at the top of our
Black
lungs.
Lives Matter. So, you
And
know,
talking
Antifa, I'm
about
sure,
life
is going to be there
in
protesting.
general.
There's going to be a mass
My biggest memory of that trip is
protest going on October
we
17th
debated
in
on what
Dallas at the
success
Trump
meant
rally. So
to
more
us.
than likely,
You know,
I
whether it
will be
was
streaming that on
how
October
much money you
17th.
had or what your
I
job
believe
title
there's going to be a
was,
lot
but
of channels that is also going to be streaming
he
that
just
as
really
well.
believed that
If I could be in
success
Dallas,
was
I'd be
your
there streaming it live.
impact on
But,
people and how you help
yeah.
people.
so I'm in Kentucky. That won't happen. So just wanted to let you all know my thoughts on that. I'll go ahead and mute back up.
344. What's going on in that photo?
So Botham was a procrastinator. And he had to write a letter to the bride and groom in their Bible. And that is me and him coming up with the perfect letter to write inside the Bible to give to the couple very last minute. And the wedding photographer busted us with a photo.
You're welcome, Carrie.
Okay. Can I have the lights on? Of course. Thank you. Ms. Stossel, did you and Botham, I guess, kind of always bounce off his problems with you or your problems with him?
Always.
Rose, I'm trying to
He
stream.
would
I don't have time to
call me after
be
work if it was a tough
switching
day, or even
screens
if it
and
was a
pulling
good
up
day.
scripture,
And I
hon.
was the same.
I will look it up here in a little
When
bit.
I lived in
Thank you.
Dallas, I had a hard time figuring out what I wanted to do with my career and what I wanted to be. And Botham was always there, encouraging me to find the good in every situation. If something was unethical or if something was just challenging, find the good. What is it teaching you and how can you improve? We talked almost every day. If it wasn't a phone call, it was a text message.
Navarro,
Yes,
this
and
is
more
the
emotional
victim's
testimony. We're going to take a quick break. We'll
friend
get you back
that's
in
on the
courtroom
stage right
after
now.
this.
So, wow. Kay, what do you think about that Trump rally that's going to be held on October 17th? Okay. So I don't think she's listening right now. So yeah, Rose, the tagline at the bottom of the screen.
I'm
saying
here. I'm going back between different
that her and
screens
Botham
here.
use
Sorry,
scripture.
I didn't want to.
Oh,
I have
you're
my.
fine.
I'm watching YouTube so that I can see the video and see the chat and chat back. And then I have to, when
You
I go to
should
talk,
be
I
able
have
to
to
see.
mute that or pause that. And then I have to come back and unmute myself. And I'm not good at that yet. Sorry.
Okay, so in StreamYards, you should be able to see the
Okay, now I can
video
hear
on
you.
my screen in StreamYards. You can't hear me?
Oh, no, I can hear you now. I can see it in StreamYards, but then I was trying to watch the comments and be able to comment back while I was watching it. And I have to do that through YouTube.
Gotcha.
So I have to pause it and then come back. And then I have to turn this sound that we're in right now is called in-call volume. And then YouTube is media. So I have to turn down media, turn up in-call volume. Yeah, I need to be on my computer, but that's okay. Hubby's working from home. But so honestly, I don't follow the Trump stuff much.
Okay,
I know
so
he's always in my town. I can tell you that. And he the whole city stops for the day because they close everything, whatever. But yeah, I don't follow a whole lot of it though.
Okay, so in my personal opinion, I have not seen, and I don't think, this is my opinion now, I don't think that Trump is a racist. But, however, there are large groups out there that do think he is. Now, this happened in Dallas. There is a Trump rally October 17th in Dallas. They're already screaming Black Lives Matter, BLM. They're already screaming that stuff. I don't think it's going to be a good day in Dallas on October 17th. Let's just say that.
I think
they're already screaming this as justice for Trayvon Martin and all blacks that have been killed. They're really race baiting this, and I don't like it at all.
I hate how that gets played into it. It's unfortunate, and I do think that in some scenarios it really does. And it depends on the city. It depends on a lot of things, and it is unfortunate. I don't care what color or sexuality. I don't care about any of that as long as you're
Right.
nice to
I
me.
don't either.
We're good. But yeah, but other people do care, and I think honestly though, like if she's given a really stiff sentence, it may turn into a better rally. But I think if she's like let off on a very, if she gets 5 or 10 years, I don't think it's going to be very pretty. But I know before they were coming on before, I want to look it up to confirm, but there have been 4 people charged with murder, 4 cops or like charges recently. She has been the 3rd that was convicted. The other one, the 4th, has not gone to trial yet. All of their scenarios are different. I think they were all on duty and I think she was off duty. I want to confirm that. But their sentences, what I believe is what they were between either 10 and 15 years or it started either at 10 or 15 and it went up to 25 years. So if that has any indication on what she may be sentenced with, I think that's maybe kind of what we're looking at. But they may have been in a little bit different scenario where, they could have used a taser on a criminal versus she was walking into his apartment. So I really think if the scenarios play out, she might be getting 25 to 50, maybe even more. I'm still thinking 25 plus. I don't know. All 3 have been convicted out of the 4 that have gone to trial though. So
Really?
there's the 4th that's coming up soon. Yeah, Dallas County's not taking any of this lightly. They're not having it. So I don't know. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good step in the right direction because I have multiple friends that are police officers and I appreciate them and adore them beyond measure. But I know that there are some people that abuse that. There are people in the government that abuse their power. There are people my husband's in the banking industry. He sees people abuse that stuff all the time. It just, this affected somebody's life, not somebody's money. And, and it's just unfortunate all the way around.
Mm-hmm. So my screen froze where I was streaming. So let me get this back on full screen and see if it's. No, it's actually their website. It's not StreamYard.
Oh, gotcha.
So, yeah, they're having issues on their end, and it's not my internet. I've got a really, really good stream going. So
Court
just
TV's
waiting
been
on
pretty
Court
good.
TV. Yeah.
Oh, there you got them up. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yesterday they weren't up like they had been for the last week, so I was having to stream elsewhere, and that was kicking my butt.
Well, I've also got the NBC tab up. It still says standby for live audio, so maybe they're on commercial.
Yeah, probably. I think this might have been their last. I
Okay.
think she said what they were. Are they back?
Hold on. Okay. All right. So hold on.
She was saying that they, or someone was recapping on the news saying that I think the prosecution was going to finish up. They were going to break for a little bit so that the defense could kind of gather their strategy. I don't know if that's what they're doing right now or if they're just taking a short commercial break, but I anticipate they're going to take at least some time. I don't know how long though. I mean, crap, I know that break could be hours. Oh, they're back. Oh no, that's
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're back.
Okay, cool. I'm going to mute myself.
Okay. So I hear audio, but the stream is lagging. So hold on just a second. Technical difficulties. 2 seconds.
I always say technology's so amazing until it's not, because then like everything shuts down and we don't know what to do.
I know, right? Thanks for hanging out with us, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thanks for doing this, Case Smalls.
Oh,
I appreciate it.
no problem. Like I said, I'm doing this for everybody. It's not for my gain. It's just, because a lot of people don't have an outlet to watch these type of things. So, all right, I'm going to pause Court TV and I'm going to see. Let's check this one out because this one seems to be on cue. I just have to turn off the ad blocker.
Well, and people can also watch this on Court TV and whatever, but the only commentary that they're getting is commentary from the news anchors and reporters, and it's one-sided sometimes. And so having this outlet also gives them the ability to talk to us and engage in conversation and get a different perspective.
Okay, I got it working.
Awesome.
Hold on just a second.
Infant school to secondary school, we had our fatherly talk. There are times when my friend said I was babying him a big boy, but I enjoyed doing that. He was never left alone. I'd bring him to school in mornings and pick him up one afternoon, even up to a grown boy of 16 years. And he Yes, drop him off and left my office in the afternoon to go and pick him up and drop him off home. Or to my mom, and after my mom, I go and pick him up in an evening. So we always spent a lot of time chatting together. And I attended every meeting the school initiated, every meeting that was called, I was there for him. I can recall the hugs at primary school before he left. And after some time, he started growing up and he was afraid to hug again because his friends were not getting these hugs. But I demanded it. Come and hug your dad. So lots of fond memories. Yeah.
When Botham went off to college at Harding, how did you maintain your closeness? Because you were always with them.
Yes, we communicated via WhatsApp. And the times when he called and speak to his mommy, I would be nearby, and he would certainly say if my wife asked for him to speak to me, and he said, no, I'll call my daddy on his own phone. Yes, and I appreciated the days when I would wake him up on a Saturday morning and say, hey, get out of bed, man, you're too lazy. And he said, I'm not in bed, I'm out already, I'm doing groceries. And I can recall, he showed me, I could recall having a neighbor speaking to him, and he said, hold on. He allowed me to hold on, and he said, it took around 5 minutes, and I'm hearing him conversing with this neighbor. He told me, this is my friend, and I could hear everything they were saying. And he said, look, I have groceries in my hands, and I'm opening the door with my foot. And so, yes, we converse, and I love my Sunday morning. My Sundays has been destroyed. That's when I waited for him to get home from his worship. After, yeah.
On Sundays, he would call you so y'all can talk about the service. Is that
Or I would wait for him to reach and send a message. Where are you? Where did you go to worship? And the times his mommy called to find out the same. Where did you go to worship? And you say Dallas West or this side or that side, and I say, what do you cook today? Then he'd take a shot and forward me his good cooking, which he learned from me. And when I watch the dishes, I say, "You prepare that?" I see well-baked dishes, and I'm saying, can I see the girl who prepared this thing at the back there? Because I didn't believe he was that good. He had learned the great cooking from me. And that was my moment. I really enjoyed when he showed me that. And Sunday is not a good day for me, because I know he would be sound-leaded.
Yes. I'm showing you States Exhibit 350, 351, and 352. These have been tendered to defense for any objection. Thank you, Your Honor. Bertrum, you said that Sundays are not good for you anymore.
Because I'm not hearing his voice.
You indicated to me in the past that you can't listen to videos of him singing.
Still not ready for it. It hurts me that he's not there.
I'm showing you States Exhibit 351. Do you remember this photo?
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Father and son having a chat at Tommy Bush's residence in Arkansas. And I ate venison for the first time. He encouraged me to have some venison.
And are you imparting words of wisdom on him?
No, we were just generalizing, speaking about the ponds and the fishes and what they love doing.
And then it States Exhibit 350. That looks like a Christmas time photo.
Yeah, I can't even recall. I just love being by his side, he felt. And people would ask, who is the father, who is the son? Because he has more size than me.
Since this event has happened, has yourself and Allison and Alyssa and Grant and the rest of the Jean family, how do you, as the patriarch of this family, try to hold them together?
Well, as the man of the home, I have to be strong for them. We spend a lot of time together. We go out for dinner, we speak about him. Although Alexis is not there, but we do communicate with her. There are times when my wife calls and just seeing the boys in the background, grandchildren, and it just motivates us to keep his memory alive. But I have to be strong. I try not to shed tears in front of them.
And I'm going to show you States Exhibit 352. Mr. John, in this photo, what are you thinking when you're standing there holding your wife?
How could that happen to us, our family? How could we have lost Botham? Such a sweet boy. He tried his best to live a good, honest life. He loved God. He loved everyone. How could this happen to him? How could hindsight, what could we have done? And my family is brokenhearted. How could it be possible? I'll never see him again. And I want to see him. I still want to see him. It's hard. I've never experienced a close death in my family. It's hard not hearing his voice.
Bertrum, that's all the questions I have for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
What's this?
Karen Geiger. Call Karen Geiger. All right.
They just called Karen Geiger to the stand. I'm not sure who that is, as to being kin to Amber. Okay, her sister. Okay, thanks, mac and cheese. Her mom? I guess we'll find out.
Usually get there about 15 to 20 minutes. I realize it takes that long for the mom to take a break. So we'll start, well, let's just start back anyway.
So a 10 to 15 minute break. So what, 30 minutes? Okay, so they've muted their audio. I think she said mom. I know, right, Lisa? So yeah, they've muted their audio. More than likely they'll go on commercial break. Guess we'll find out. Yeah, keeps taking breaks. Oh, audio's back on. Okay. What are they doing? There she is. There's Amber. Kathy Bradley, we're just watching a trial. You know, we can't help it that that has actually been talked about in this trial. You know, I'm just speaking on what's been talked about. I'm not all for any type of racism, or I don't really like to talk politics either, but that has been brought up in this trial. So, I mean, I can only go by what's been talked about and just trying to make it relevant. So, I mean, if you don't want to watch, that's up to you. It's your choice, hon. But yeah, it looks like they're taking about a 10 to 15 minute break. So I'm going to mute. I'm going to check on the puppy and I'll be back. And just letting you know, if it does come back on, I don't have their audio muted, so it should start playing as they come back. What up? You got your headset. Whoop whoop. Alright, I'm just going through and looking at the comments while I was away.
Alrighty, I'm gonna look up those Dallas police officers. I want to find more information on those and see what their like circumstances were. I'm curious if she'll be sentenced like they were.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you that didn't see Cartoon in the chat, Cartoon Ball, what Cartoon Ball was talking about it being fake. Well, no, I don't think it's fake. However, there are certain things that certain people do to plan. It's kind of like a, not really a bait and switch tactic, but just look up false flags. And false flags is where they critique a plan and they proceed with it to fit an agenda, typically by the government. So, you know, a lot of people say it's like conspiracy theory, stuff like that. But if you do look up false flags, there are certain instances where it has happened before. I'm not saying that this is by any means, but pay attention to protests. Pay attention to rallies. Pay attention, it is election year. A lot of times false flags happen during election years to try to get certain laws passed to fit an agenda. So I think that's what Cartoon Ball was referencing to. Now, there can be people that actually do die in false flags. So, a false flag compared to a hoax, two totally different things. A hoax basically is everything's fake. Every single detail's fake. Nobody dies. It's all fake. That stuff can happen too. Obama actually passed a propaganda law to where the media can lie to the public. So always keep that in mind. That's why, you know, Trump's always talking about fake news. I mean, the media can lie to the public. So, I mean, it's all in the level of awakeness that you want to awaken to, I guess. You know, there's a certain thing called red pilled and blue pilled. And if you take the blue pill, basically you're asleep. And if you look on the market, all the sleeping pills are blue. They're blue for a reason. That's why it's called that for a reason. So, you know, I'm not saying by any means that this is a false flag, this is fake, nothing like that. You gotta have discernment when you watch these things. If somebody thinks this is fake, then they're not looking at those true, genuine actions, those true, genuine tears, all the testimonies. You know, this is a very sad time. Very, very sad time. This case is very sad all the way around. An innocent man lost his life. Now, there are a lot of people that are trying to pull the race card in this because it was a white cop on a black person, but I personally do not see color. I don't. I've never really seen color. I don't let that hinder my opinion on someone whatsoever at all. So, I mean, just, you know, Google it, do your research. You know, I never say believe me. Always do your own research, guys. Please. Don't believe what I say. Do your own research. I'll leave it up to you. There's different levels of awakeness that people can come to. Some people don't even want to to know what's really going on. But there is a lot that goes on that a lot of people are not aware of. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, this case is very, very sad. I hope that the family does seek and get justice in this case. Penwoodsman, the only thing fake is the law system, not one person or race in particular. It's flawed, corrupt system. I agree. I agree, Penwoodsman. I agree. What do you mean hit at Cartoon Ball, as in the cop was hired to kill this man? I don't see Cartoon Ball what he said. Or what she said. Let's see. Wasn't trying to disagree or disrupt, just saying this whole case is hard to believe on its face. Said it was hit, just curious. I'm not sure. I'll have to do some research on that cartoon. And I do know what you're saying. There are some things that happen that, you know, aren't real, that are made up. But this, I don't believe, is one of them. You keep dropping out, woman. There you go.
I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
You're fine. But yeah, I mean, do you see what I'm saying as far as what cartoon's trying to explain? You know, as far as like, you know, some things are fake, some things are real, some things are false flag to meet an agenda, some things are planned. It's actually crazy what goes on that we're not aware of. Just think of the stuff that does go on that we have no idea about.
Oh, for sure. I totally agree.
Unless you're a Kennedy. That's awesome, Paris Hilton. Unless you're a Kennedy. That is one big spider web. The Kennedy family. Ugh. Okay, so Fact Finder says, let's see what they say. There's body cam footage on CBS website. Not hers, though. I believe she could have walked into the wrong apartment, but the furnishings should have tipped her off, and he was way in the back. Okay, so here's what I heard. I didn't watch her full testimony, but I did hear or actually see an article where she said he was over by standing by the window. However, they critiqued it to where he was actually getting up off the couch and was shot. So
okay,
that doesn't match her statement. Yeah.
Do you watch Drawn Crimes?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you see anything that he put up recently?
I know he had a live stream about this last night. I saw bits and pieces, but I didn't watch the whole thing.
So he did a video prior to the live stream. He actually has the inside of his home is set up very, very similar. I mean, almost identical to Botham's. So he actually takes you through, like, look, this is where she would be coming in. This is where she would be standing. And look, this is where they're saying he was. And he puts it in perspective of, it's his perspective. It's a one-on-one perspective, but it is almost dead on the exact same layout. And it's kind of crazy to look at that, because it doesn't, what you're saying, it doesn't match. And what she would have had to have done to actually shoot him and get that shot, she would have had to have just continued to walk in. Well, why are you walking towards a threat? Like, he was a far distance away from her, and she wouldn't have just had the ability to, at least the way he was explaining it, and it made perfect sense. He used to also be a firefighter. I didn't know that. He was taking us through, you know, his total perspective and point of view, and it was just like, holy crap, because you're right. And if she would have had to have continued to move to get that shot, and he was all the way by the window on the opposite side, it's a total like diagonal, and it's weird. And she was walking towards him. Just what she says doesn't make any sense. And
right. If she was fearing for her life, she was walking towards him. However, you have to also put in perspective, she's a cop. Her training kicked in.
Sure.
Now,
but the only thing is that it kicked in part of
it doesn't match her story, though. where
and
he
that
was
too, and like,
does not match her story.
yeah, and there are times where she's like, yeah, I, reverted back to training, but there are other times where she didn't follow protocol. So
Right.
it's like, what state of mind were you in? Were you in the, okay, this is an emergency, this is my training, I'm going to follow my protocol? Or were you in your, I'm sexting nudies to my boyfriend who's married, and she kind of seemed like she's like bobbling back and forth, and you can't really do that with your mind. You can't put your mind back and forth like that. I don't
Who
understand.
knows
She
what
just,
she was thinking? Who knows?
yeah, she's,
I don't even think she knew what she was thinking.
I don't think
To
she
be
was either.
honest.
I think she was trying to make herself believe, I thought it was my apartment. I thought it was my apartment. And I've heard theories where she had possibly gotten into an altercation with him, or as far as like, not an altercation, but she was upset that he would sing loud or have loud music. And there was a report that possibly the apartment directly underneath him had actually made a noise complaint
I heard there was
the
multiple
night
noise
before.
complaints
Yeah.
made that day.
Well, yeah, there were, you see, and people were like, well, that's not true because that wasn't in court. What people don't understand all of the time is that just because it wasn't in court doesn't mean it didn't happen. It just
Not
wasn't
everything is
admissible.
submitted into
Yeah.
evidence.
Well,
They
and
can
even if it's
only during a
submitted,
trial.
well, and even if it's submitted, it might not be admissible because they say, like, how they were objecting to things yesterday, like her defense was saying, oh, this was her social media, but you can't prove that she was the one that was writing those and typing those and posting those. And it's like, okay, it's just the way that they go about everything that they're doing. And I don't know, it just none of it makes any sense. Their objections, their everything, and they're trying to put us in this perspective of where she was and what she was doing, and it's just not adding up, none of it.
Yeah,
And they were saying with
she
those,
was wanting to earn her stripes.
that's what I was about to say too. I totally like went off topic there, but she took advantage of a situation. Like all of the stars kind of aligned where she wanted to be that cop who, was that badass and be like, oh, I shot someone, I killed someone, but it was my apartment and it was self-defense. And so I can't remember. I want to say it was John Crimes who said this, but honestly, I don't want to say that because it's some strong testimony to be put behind it. But to say like, she wanted to go in and she didn't follow protocol because she knew she had the ability to kind of stage the scene, and it was her apartment. It was going to be, but I would think like in that time she would have realized that it wasn't, but she might have been so focused on this is what I'm going to do and this is why, because I want to, this is going to fit my agenda. This is going to fit my agenda. And she wanted to be that person, but now everything's coming against her because it turned out to not be her apartment. That's the thing. But I almost feel like I don't know. Yeah.
And she ended up saying also, well, the feel really didn't feel like my apartment.
I think we lost Kay. Kay Smalls. She did say that that the apartment felt different, or like the floor underneath her felt different in Botham's apartment. And why didn't anything else feel different? And I guess in a state of mind and when you're preoccupied, and people said that he might have had his door propped open a little bit because he was smoking marijuana. People are making him out to be a bad person because he was doing that. Well, one, I don't understand why you would prop your door open because you're smoking. That doesn't make any sense. But if that happened,
sorry, I got
booted
off. Hey,
I saw that. I was getting booted before. I was just continuing what you were saying about how it didn't feel the same, and how like you would just think that one of those things, like you have so many senses, you would think that one of those things would have been picked up on, like something. And she just didn't. But she had an agenda. She was focused on her end goal, and her end goal was to kill this guy because it was an intruder in her apartment that she was in a state of mind that didn't exist. I don't know. I almost wonder if she has any like mental things going on that like, because we talked about medication that could distract her or put her in a different, lower her inhibitions or whatever. I almost think now, like, was there something going on mentally? Because they also said she had tried to apply, I think it was the Fort Worth, Texas police department, and she was denied. they wouldn't hire
Was
her
it Fort
on.
Worth or was it somewhere else? I thought it was
I'm
somewhere
pretty sure.
else.
Okay, I thought it was Fort Worth. Hi. I thought it was Fort Worth, but I could be wrong. That's just what's sticking in my
And
head.
she failed a lie detector test?
She failed a lie detector test on one of them. And then she also, there was some self-admissions where she had to like admit things on what she had done the last time she had taken drugs, if any, if she had ever stolen. Well, she admitted to stealing a brownie at a restaurant. And that's what we were kind of joking about a little bit, because that was her self-admission. And something about a brownie and I don't know, a pencil or something silly. I mean, it was literally something silly. And they were like, that was what they were trying to bring to hold against her. And the judge was just like, out of her whole personnel file and out of everything, you're giving me one page. This is what you want me to look at? Like, she wasn't having it either. It was really interesting. I like her.
Yeah, I do too. I think she's a very fair judge. A lot of people think she's odd, but no, she sticks to the point, and she's being a very, very fair judge. It's very hard for a judge to not put in any emotion into the case. And that's how the jury needs to do. They need to look at the evidence strictly and not put any emotion behind it. Now, as far as sentencing goes, sentencing phase is completely different, I think. It's, there is emotion put behind it because you need to know, hey, this was an innocent man. This man had friends. He didn't do anything, and they keep pulling this race card. They need to take that out of, and did you hear her on her testimony? She was like, I thought, I'm so sorry. This isn't about hate. I was scared. Well, if you were scared, you would have asked for backup before walking in there. You wouldn't have walked towards the subject.
Right. You would have either called for backup. I mean, honestly, like, I'm thinking, even if my hands are full, like I'm walking into my, house, my apartment, I see someone, I'm like, oh crap, I'm seeing myself like throw it all up in the air and run away. That's what I see. But I mean, and I don't have her training, but I have a little bit different / similar training. I've walked into circumstances that I know are dangerous and that it's not a good thing to do, but I've had to do that. And I think, what would I do if someone's robbing my house? I would literally walk away. I think, why would I enter that? There's nothing in my house that's other than my animals. There's nothing in my house that's that important to me. I mean, it's my family and my animals. Everything else can be replaced eventually. So none of that is important, especially when it's your apartment. You don't even own that. It just doesn't make any sense. She totally had an agenda she was trying to fit in. I want to know what was non-admissible into court, but was evidence that might have, because they said there was no connection between the two proven, but if there were noise complaints filed or any other issues, and maybe what I was thinking too, it's totally like, this is just my opinion, but I was thinking like, okay, so maybe she's upset. Maybe she's, talking to this guy, and this is her walking home, she's like, you know what? I've had enough of this guy. Like, I'm going to go and try and talk to him and be like, look, can you stop? And his door was propped open. She saw that she could tell that he had been smoking. She was taking advantage of a situation like, oh, this is my chance. And here's my story. She had to make herself believe. If you are telling someone something over and over and over and over again, like, I'm not a narcissist, or I'm not crazy, or this was my apartment. Right. You're trying to make yourself believe it as well. And eventually you'll start to believe that.
Once you tell a lie so many times, it actually starts to become the truth to yourself. She was actually gaslighting herself and trying to gaslight everyone else.
Yeah. And she knows that when she calls 911 that they're recording before they ever pick up. She knows all of that. So she's just playing the system, and she knows that 911 call is going to be one of the very centers of this trial. And to say, I think they counted 19 times that she said that's just to say it 2 or 3, like, oh my gosh, I thought this was my apartment. What have I done? Like, whatever. But just to continue to say it, you're stretching there.
What did I say? They said 10 to 15 minute break. It's already been over 20 minutes. I said, what, 30 minutes? This judge has done this before, and I'm not saying it's primarily on the judges, but this has happened before to where, they said 10-minute break and it ended up being a 35-minute break. So we'll see. Like I said, I've got it on the screen,
longer.
That's why we're here chatting. You know, I don't want you all staring at a state of Texas logo with nothing else to fall back on. So, you know, I'm glad we were able to do it this way.
Oh, for sure. Casey said they're back.
They're back?
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if
Let
we're
me
frozen or
refresh
something.
the screen.
Really, Tangled Justice? Do you think? I was just thinking that like off the wall the other day. Like, what if she's just upset? She's filed noise complaints and she's just like, okay, I've had enough. I've worked 14 and a half hours, 13 and a half hours, and I'm going to go confront this guy. Totally could have happened. Totally could have not happened. Just trying to think of everything at this point.
Okay, I'm not. This must be her mom, not her sister.
I'm going to mute myself for right now while she's talking.
Or possibly her grandmother. I'm not sure.
Alana.
And how old is she now?
She's 38.
And who is this here in the middle?
And that's David.
And then this is Amber here.
Yes, ma'am.
About how old was Amber in this photo? Do you recall?
Okay, it's her mom. Thanks, Gingerlocks.
Say she was in junior high. I'd forgotten.
I'm sorry.
I know. I'm trying to. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Defense
And
Exhibit
that's
number 96.
and that's much later.
This is Amber in the middle.
Yes, ma'am.
She's picked you up.
Mm.
And your son here, and then Lawanda, your daughter, and then even though y'all aren't still together, this is his dad, and that's Bill. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, even though y'all were separated, was Bill, excuse me, still present in Amber's life?
Yes, ma'am.
You said Amber was around 5 when you and Bill separated?
Yes, ma'am. She was
In-
still. Yeah. She's. Yeah.
In 1995, when Amber was 6 years old, were you dating somebody?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recall his name?
Joe.
Is that Joe Ortiz?
Yes, ma'am.
Would he stay at your house on occasion?
Yes, ma'am.
On February 25th, 1995, Amber would have been 6 years old, is that right?
Approximately. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
On
Yes,
that
ma'am.
morning, did you learn that Joe had been sexually molesting her?
Yes, ma'am.
In fact, did you call the Arlington Police Department to your house that morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall speaking with an Officer Smith with the Arlington Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain what you saw that morning that caused you to confront Joe?
I was going back to the bedroom. I was fixing to take a shower and I forgot my comb. That's when I saw him coming out of the bedroom and then Amber came out.
And as a result of some conversation that you had with Joe and also with Amber, the police were summoned to your house, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And was Joe eventually arrested for indecency with a child, with Amber being the named victim?
Yes, ma'am.
He ended up pleading guilty on that case, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us a little bit about what kind of child Amber was?
She was sweet. She loved going outside all the time and she made friends real quick.
What elementary school did she go to?
Louise Platten.
Is that in Arlington?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she play any musical instruments when she was growing up?
She played when she was young in Platten. She's going to Platten. She picked up the violin and she played the violin.
About what grade was that she started playing the violin?
Well, they started that in grade school and she continued on into junior high school. And into, yeah, she stayed with it.
Did
She loved the violin. She loved playing the violin.
She continued playing through high school.
Yes, ma'am.
And at some point, did she also play with a mariachi band?
Yes, ma'am.
While she was in high school, did Amber work?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall what that was?
She started working into, I remember the earliest, I think, she worked at the mall at Stephen Barry's. Later on, she got a job working at Fridays at the airport. And she worked there. She worked her way good through school she went to Tarrant County and she worked at the airport to help pay for school.
She always work hard and try to help support herself.
Yes, ma'am.
And help you as much as she could.
Yes, ma'am.
Did Amber go to college for a while?
Yes, ma'am.
And why was it that she stopped her courses there in college?
She was so excited when she found out that I wanted her to, she was almost done. She was in her junior year and she found out that there was a spot in the academy. She said, Mom, if I don't take it now, I may lose my chance. So she went on to applied for the school to go to be a police officer.
Had she always expressed an interest in law enforcement when she was growing up?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What was one of the things that she did while she was in high school with law enforcement?
She started in grade school when she was still in grade school, the DARE program, and she loved to watch anything that had to do with the police work.
You said she was interested in the DARE program?
Yes, ma'am.
That was when she was in elementary?
Yes, and they would always have the programs, to help children, get interested in a career. That they had a passion for it. She had a passion for it, and it continued on to high school. And she went on the ride-alongs.
The ride-alongs?
Uh-huh.
And that was with which police department?
Arlington did that.
And have you got a medical condition?
I have, yes, ma'am.
What's that?
I have pulmonary fibrosis.
Is that something that Amber helped you?
She's always worried about me. So she worries about me.
She helped take care of you and help you with your medications and things like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Geiger, after the shooting on September 6, 2018, did you get a call from Amber?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes, ma'am. After the shooting on September 6, 2018, did you receive a call from Amber?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you describe what she sounded like?
I had trouble understanding her.
Why is that?
She was crying.
Can you explain how she's reacted since the situation of knowing that she's killed an innocent man?
She was very upset. I couldn't understand her. When she first told me, I couldn't understand her because she was crying so hard.
Since that time until now, what have you seen as far as her remorse for accidentally going into this wrong apartment and shooting this man?
She wanted to take his place. She always would tell me she wished she could take in his place. She feels very bad about it. She feels very bad about it. She feels bad about it.
Thank you, Ms. Geiger. I'll pass it over to Ms. Rhonda. Thank you, Ms. Geiger. No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Guyger. You may be excused.
Okay.
Can you just wait just a second so that we can get you some assistance?
Okay.
I don't want you to fall.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Have a seat. State your name, please, and spell your name for the court reporter.
Alana Geiger, Alana Guyger.
How old are you, Ms. Geiger?
I'm 37.
And could you tell the jury how you're employed?
I work for On the Border. I'm a server.
And you're the older sister of Amber Geiger, is that right?
Yes, sir.
How much older are you?
6 years.
Let me talk to you a little bit about growing up as the big sister in the house, where your parents separated at some point in time when you were children, is that right?
Yes, I was approximately 12.
Whose home did y'all, the three children, stay at primarily after that?
We stayed at our mom's house.
Staying there, did your mother work, or was she a stay-at-home mother?
She was a stay-at-home mother.
How was the family provided for financially?
My father provided for us financially.
After your parents were separated, did your father stay involved in you and Amber's and your brother's life?
Yes, he did.
How often would y'all see him?
About once a month, maybe, and on birthdays, and he would take us out, just him and the siblings.
As y'all got older, did you see him more often?
Yes.
Tell the jury what kind of little sister Amber was when y'all were small.
She was the little sister that I always looked up to. I've always admired her for being brave. She's outgoing. She just has this certain positive energy that everybody gravitates toward. They want to be her friend.
Okay. Did y'all, your house was pretty small that you grew up in, is that right?
It was probably just around 800, 900 square feet, I want to say.
Did you share a bedroom with Amber?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Can you tell us what Amber was like as a little girl?
Kind, bubbly, outgoing. She always wanted to be outside. I'm always trying to get her to play Barbies with me. We both shared the same musical interest. And Selena, the Spice Girls, Britney Spears, all the 90s pop bands like Backstreet Boys and such.
Did she follow that musical interest as she got older?
Definitely. We had all the posters, all the walls completely covered.
Did she enjoy playing music herself?
She did. She took up orchestra in junior high. And she played the violin. And then I believe it was her sophomore year of high school, she started playing the trumpet in the marching band.
When she was about 5 years old, there was a man named Mr. Ortiz that was arrested for molesting.
Yes, it was a man that my mother was dating, and he touched her inappropriately on a few occasions.
Did you and Amber go through counseling after he was after that his behavior was discovered?
Yes, we went through counseling in Arlington for about 6 months. It was a program that was provided by the city.
How did Amber respond to that counseling?
She held a lot in, and she would only talk to me about it, what happened. But I think the counseling, helped kind of bring out the feelings.
Was that her personality, the whole thing's end? Or?
Yes, she doesn't like to upset those around her.
You eventually moved out of the house after you got out of high school.
I moved out and following graduation from high school and went to the University of North Texas.
Did you and Amber stay close to one another after you started college?
Yes, she always wanted to spend the night at my apartment on the weekends. She had a key to a few of my apartments. She would come over whenever she wanted to. My dad would drop her off, and we would watch movies together and do sister overnight fun stuff.
As she got out of high school, you can call Amber what she was pursuing at that time when she graduated.
Oh, can you repeat the question?
When Amber got out of high school, graduated from high school, what was her interest? What was she pursuing? What were her goals?
She wanted to be a police officer and obtain a criminal justice degree. She went to Tarrant County College to do her basics and then continued on at the University of Texas at Arlington.
Was she working full-time while she did that?
She has been working full-time, 40 hours per week or more since she was 16.
Do you know why Amber started working that hard that early?
She is very responsible. She's always wanted to be financially stable and put herself through school. She didn't want to take out any loans or have any debts.
What was, once Amber applied to the Dallas Police Department, was accepted, how did she respond to that?
She was so happy that she was going to be able to have a career where she could help others in need. And
After she became a Dallas police officer, were you able to stay in communication with each other and still able to meet on occasion?
yes, we would go out to dinner, meet up at restaurants with the family.
How close is your family?
We're very close.
Stay in a lot of communication with one another?
Yes, I call my mom all the time to make sure she's doing okay. And even though we're all busy, we all have crazy hours, we manage to stay close and communicate.
Does Amber stay in touch and watch her mother since she became a police officer?
Yes, she'll just show up to her house unexpected to make sure she is stocked up on medications for her health issues and bring her little thoughtful gifts for no reason.
Has she done the same with you?
She has. I recently fell at work about a month and a half ago, and I had blood all over my clothes, and she brought me a spare change of clothes, stopped off at Academy, and surprised me. She's like,
Since the incident, September 6th, 2018, have you had a chance to observe your sister, how this has affected her?
it has affected her.
How would you say it's affected her?
She's doesn't have that same light or energy that she had before.
Have you seen your sister express remorse to you for having shot Botham Jean and taking his life?
Yes, she's expressed to me how she feels bad spending time with her family because he can't be with his.
You know your sister well. Does she seem genuine in her remorse?
She's one of the most genuine people you can ever meet, and I know those that know her would attest to that.
I'll pass it away to Sharon.
Thank you, Ms. Geiger. No questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Guyger.
Thank you.
Don will call Nancy Bishop.
Ms. Bishop, if you would, please raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you very much.
Can you state your name, please, and spell your name for the court report?
Yes, Nancy Bishop, NANCY BISHOP.
Bishop, how are you related to Amber Geiger?
I am Amber's aunt.
On which side of the family?
Karen is my sister.
Is she older or younger sister?
I'm the older sister.
And where do you currently live? What city?
I live in Austin.
Did you used to live here in the Metroplex?
Yes, I lived in Dallas and Oak Cliff for 11 years. Lived there as a child and came back.
And did you were you living in the Dallas area when Amber was a young child?
Yes.
Did you have occasions to meet with the family and be around Amber on many occasions when she was growing up?
From the day she was born.
Okay. Could you describe to the jury what kind of child Amber was?
Very loving. I mean, I don't think she ever closed a conversation without saying that, I love you, very caring and just very affectionate. I love being around her because she, just has this wonderful spirit, where she can, get to know everybody easily, having so much positive energy.
Has she always been that way as she grew up?
Always, yeah.
How was she with her family?
The same way. I mean, she would stay and, go over there almost weekly or every other week, as busy as she was. She would do things like take her mother to the zoo, even if it was 100 degrees, always doing things for her family.
And did you know about Amber's desire to be a police officer?
Yes. I knew that's what she was studying for. She was very dedicated to that was her ultimate goal.
Did that worry you after she became a police officer?
Oh, of course.
Did you express that?
Because I probably, yes, because I know the area that she chose to work in, was very dangerous and it would be difficult.
Did Amber want to, that didn't seem to bother Amber?
No, she said she wanted to be where she could be most effective.
Thank you, Ms. Bishop. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Ms. Bishop. No questions here, Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
It should be excused.
Oh, of course. No objections in the state. Thank you, Ms. Bishop.
Next one. Yes, call Officer Odhiambo.
Officer, if you would please raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
Could you please state your name and spell your first and last name for the record?
My name is Kathy Odhiambo. I go by Kate, Cathy, and my last name is Odhiambo.
And how are you employed?
I am employed with the City of Dallas.
And in what capacity with the City of Dallas?
I'm a police officer
And how long have you been a police officer?
for 6 years.
And do you know the woman sitting 2 seats to my right? You know who that is?
Yes, that's my friend,
And
Amber,
what's her name?
Amber Geiger.
How long have you known Miss Geiger?
I have known her for over 10 years.
And how did you and Miss Geiger first meet?
We first met at TGI Fridays. We used to work at the airport at TGI Fridays. She had just transferred, was picking up shifts. She had just transferred from a TGI Fridays in Arlington. So she came through and we clicked instantly.
And as y'all, you worked together with her at TGI Fridays, were y'all both going to school to pursue your degrees?
Yes, we clicked instantly because we realized we went to the same high school and we realized we were going to the same college, which was UT Arlington at the time. And we just clicked.
And can you, at some point, you weren't majoring to be a police officer?
No, at the time when I met her, I was a business major at UT Arlington. She always wanted to be a police officer. Everybody around her knew that was her dream from when she was a little girl. That was all. For me, police officer came about later on in life. But for her, that was all she ever wanted, all she ever dreamed of.
And you eventually decided to go the police officer route, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you did that. You joined the Dallas Police Department before Amber did, correct?
I sure did.
And have you ever worked together with her as a police officer?
No, we were not lucky to work together. We were together at the academy. I was towards the end of my academy, and she was just beginning. So we were there briefly for about 6 months together. She was a few classes behind me. I never worked with her in the streets because we went to different stations.
You're in the southwest sector of Dallas, and she was in the southeast, correct?
Yes, sir.
But did you continue to maintain your friendship and your bond?
Absolutely. We were always friends. We had similar backgrounds. We worked as servers for 5-6 years together while we were going to school. So we always kept in touch, encouraged each other. She knows my whole family. I know her family, my kids.
What is her personality like?
Amber, she cares. She's so caring, selfless, thinks about others before herself. She's kind. She's good to people. She's the sweetest girl. Everybody who knows her knows that Amber is the sweetest person.
Has she always been willing to help you?
Absolutely. I can give a scenario. I remember, and she probably doesn't remember this until now. I was pregnant at the time, and I bought a crib and changing table all the way in Frisco, and I live in Mansfield area. And I know people with trucks, but I asked her to help me. I was like, "Hey, Amber, you think you can help me with your truck?" And she was like, "No, I'm gonna drive you there." So she drives all the way. She used to live in Forney, and she drove all the way from Forney to Mansfield area to pick me up so we can drive all the way to Frisco to pick up this crib and changing table. And that's just the kind of person she is. And on the way back, we didn't strap the changing table properly, and it flew off the highway, and we were driving and realized it's missing. And she's like, "Oh my goodness, we gotta go back." And she's like, "That could cause an accident, somebody could get hurt." So we circle back, we come back on the highway, and this was 161, and everybody knows 161, people drive past 70 miles an hour. And we circle back, and we see it in the middle of the highway, and she parks on the side of the highway, and I want to go run for it because it's my changing table. And she's like, "Oh no, you're pregnant, you can't run for that." And this girl just dashes in the middle of the highway and grabs the changing table and brings it out of the highway, and there were cars coming through. And she just really did not want somebody to, have an accident with that changing table on the highway. And that's the kind of person she is. And I can tell more stories. And there's been instances where I'm like, "Hey, Amber, I need you to pick me up from the doctor's office. I don't have anybody." And she would drop things just to be there and pick me up from the doctor's office because I couldn't.
So, throughout your relationship with Amber, you developed a strong bond, and she's always been there for you, correct?
She's always been there for me. She's a friend I can talk to. I call her when I'm having difficulties. She's that friend because she listens to you, and she cares about my kids, and she's around my family. And this is a girl that I love as a friend. She's been good to me all my life, all the time that I've known her, not all my life, all the time I've known her.
Thank you, Officer Odhiambo. I'll pass the witness.
No questions, Your Honor.
May she be excused?
No objection.
Thank you very much, officer.
Call Rhonda Richardson.
swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Make yourself comfortable.
Could you please state your first and last name and spell them for the court reporter?
My name is Rhonda Richardson, Rhonda. Last name is Richeson.
And how are you employed?
Employed with the Dallas Police Department.
And what is your current position?
Currently, I'm a detective in the robberies division.
And how long have you been with the Dallas Police Department?
20 years.
And at some point in your career, were you a field training officer assigned to the Southeast substation?
Yes, sir. I was. I worked at Southeast for 15 years, and 9 of that I was a field training officer.
And can you tell them, just briefly, very briefly, can you just tell the members of the jury what a field training officer?
Absolutely. Yes, the field training officers, when a recruit comes out of the academy, and we all go through this, we spend about 6 months with a trainer. It's broken up in 3 phases. And then the last phase is 4th phase, where we sit with a recruit after the 3 phases, after they've gone through it, and we let them try to be on their own just to see if they're going to be able to make it out on the streets.
And they don't want to just let police officers go straight from academy. You want senior officers that give them guidance and on-the-job training in sometimes tense, dramatic, dangerous situations. Correct?
Absolutely. When they're riding with trainers, they're a police officer. I mean, that's what they're doing, and we're answering the same calls, the dangerous calls and the not so dangerous calls, but they're learning right besides the senior officers.
And did you have the opportunity to train the woman sitting 2 seats from me, Amber Geiger?
Absolutely.
What phase of training you had her for?
I do. I had her for 4th phase training.
And what does that mean?
Again, you have phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. You start with the phase 1 and you just progress. You progress on the calls that you take and all that. By the time you get to 4th phase, you should be, as a recruit, you should be working on your own, being able to find out the answers that you might not know to the calls that you go to. We go to all different types of calls. I'm there, a 4th phase trainer is there to help, to assist, but we want to make sure that when she gets, or when the officer gets out on the street, that they know what they're doing.
And just describe what your impression of was Amber Geiger during the time that you were training her.
Amber came to me ready to be out on the streets. It was a pleasure to train her, or to sit with her. The first few days, I made sure I was there to help her out and stuff like that. I acted as a trainer. But the rest of the 2.5 weeks that I had her, I told her, I said, you're ready. You're ready to get out there and do this job. Let's just be partners now. So we acted like partners. We answered calls together, 2-man, the dangerous calls, and she did fantastic.
And like any rookie, there are mistakes that are made, correct?
Yes, sir. There's mistakes made by all of us.
and did she take direction and criticism well?
Amber always took criticism very well.
And did she continue in your interactions and seeing her to continue to be a hard worker for the Dallas Police?
That's all I ever heard from the other officers that were riding with her.
Now you're in eventually you left patrol and you're now a robbery detective, correct?
Yes.
And were you investigating some of the robberies that were connected to the operation on September 6th?
Yes, I was.
And we've heard a lot about it, so I'm not going to repeat, but as a robbery detective, do you depend on the CRT teams in the different sectors of Dallas to help run operations to apprehend these dangerous felons?
Absolutely.
And did you see Amber that day?
I did.
Was she out there on the scene or back at headquarters?
I was on the scene and she was on the scene, but she was a ways away from me, so I didn't see her at the scene. No. I mean, I saw her, but I didn't talk to her.
I will pass the witness.
No question, no.
May this officer be excused?
No objection.
No objection.
Thank you, Detective Richardson.
Thank you, ma'am.
Call Officer McPherson.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Make yourself comfortable. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Could you please state your name and spell your first and last name for the court reporter?
Thomas McPherson, THOMAS. McPherson is MacPherson.
And how are you employed?
I'm employed by the city of Dallas
And what capacity?
as a police officer.
And where are you currently assigned?
I'm currently assigned to the Dallas SWAT team.
And that's the tactical unit that is used for, I guess, dynamic, dangerous operations, correct?
Yes, that would be a correct description of it. We run most of our narcotic warrants and we handle barricaded person or active shooter situations.
Officer McPherson, do you know the woman sitting 2 seats to my right, Amber Geiger?
Yes, it's my friend Amber Geiger.
And how long have you known Miss Geiger?
I've known Amber almost 6 years now.
And where did you and Miss Geiger meet?
We were in the same academy class.
And did you quickly bond?
Yes, we did.
After leaving the academy, were you both assigned to the southeast section of Dallas?
Yes, we were. We were assigned to the same substation after training, or after we got done with the academy and on to training.
And did you and Miss Geiger were both in the patrol section, correct?
That is correct.
And did you get the occasion to work with her on numerous occasions?
Yes, we worked the same shift, so we would answer calls together, or we would be in the same detail. So yes, I got a lot of interaction with Amber.
And did you like working with her? Did you feel safe being out on the streets with Amber?
Absolutely. Yeah, Amber was someone that you could depend on.
On July 7th, 2016, were you and Ms. Geiger working?
Yes, we were. We were working night shift at the time, but we had come in early to work some overtime, some call answering overtime. And we were on a different call when we heard the officer assist come out.
And when you heard the officer assist come out, where did you go?
Amber actually heard it first, and she grabbed me and said that we need to go. There's something going on downtown. And at that point, there was a lot of chaos. There was a lot of confusion, but we knew that we needed to go down. And so we drove from Pleasant Grove down to Central, which is where everything was going on.
Central, which is downtown Dallas.
Yes, correct. Yes.
And when you got to, did you get close to El Centro College? Was that seemed to be the focus of the activity?
Yes, that is correct. We drove as close as we could. Obviously, there was a lot of cars, a lot of squad cars, so we pulled up as as close as we could to El Centro, and from there, we were getting out of the car and we're continuing to hear gunshots. And I distinctly remember Amber being so brave, and I was driving, she was in the passenger seat, and she was just ready to go. She told me, let's go. And we were downtown for the whole night until about 6 o'clock that morning.
Let me stop you there, Officer McPherson. You, so when you got to the scene and you could hear the gunshots, did y'all stay back or did you run towards where the gunshots were coming from?
No, we ran towards where the gunshots were going.
And along the way, did you have to help or assist any citizens or other people trying to get them out of the way of any potential harm?
Yes, that's correct. We were trying to move as close as we could to the gunfire. And obviously with all the panic and pandemonium, we were trying to get as many citizens either to, stay low in their cars or just keep running away from everything because, we just, like I said, we were still trying to figure out what was going on, but the citizens didn't need to be anywhere near there.
And since that time, you worked with Ms. Geiger in patrol and in the CRT unit, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And was she always a hard worker and someone who always had your back?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind.
And you're still good friends with her today, is that correct?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
I'll pass the witness.
Just briefly, Your Honor. Officer McPherson?
Yes, ma'am.
The CRT unit, you said y'all are a close-knit group?
Yes, ma'am.
In fact, you all had like a text thread that you all would respond to each other on.
Yes, ma'am.
And in that text thread, was there some discourse about the supervision over your unit, your close-knit unit that you just discussed?
Yeah, I mean, we would always talk about, our group, or we would talk about what was going on that day. Yes, that would be correct.
Okay, not only the group, but just also the supervisors that's over your group.
Correct, yes.
And so, is it fair to say that some of you all were close-knit versus that the entire group was a close-knit group?
No, I would say that we were all close-knit. I would, in my opinion, that would be a correct statement.
In that group of text messages, you all refer to someone as Tubby. Is that correct?
Yes.
Objection of relevance.
What are they doing now? Hey, are you there?
I am, but I'm right next to my little one, and he's got a tablet going with a bunch of stuff. I don't want it to be in your stream. I mean,
I didn't know why they are deliberating right now. Like, why are they talking? Do you have any idea what was?
Someone said I must ask you a question, and they were like talking about his mustache. I think. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. They've been doing this a lot. They break to it. Probably something that was said that they need to have questioned whether it can be admissible or not. They've done it a lot, so I don't know.
Interesting. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. they seem to take a little bit of time too, and they all kind of deliberate on the side, and we're not allowed to hear any of this. We're not, if it's off the record, they're not allowed to have sound on it. So as much as I'd like to like listen and be a fly on the wall, oh, we can't. It sucks.
Good lip readers.
Yeah, right.
Oh, here she goes. Let's see
All
what she
right.
says.
Don't have a problem with them coughing, I was just trying to offer them an idea if they need it. I know how hard it is to suppress a cough. Okay. This long, I'm gonna allow you, because I'm trying to figure out if what it is you're intending or where it is you're trying to go is relevant. So I'm going to allow you to ask questions so we can get a proper of where it is you're trying to go and not have to be whispering over here to the side.
And so what I'm trying to get to is, Officer McPherson, a few weeks ago, you met with us, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And you talked about how we asked you during that meeting about the set of text messages that you all, the CRT has a text thread that you all exchange communications through, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And in that text thread, you all talk about amongst multiple things, your day, and you also talk about the supervision that you all are experiencing within the CRT.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And in fact, you all, including the defendant, have made comments about, or I should say derogatory comments about the supervision within your supervisor in particular.
Okay.
Is that, am I making this up or is that true?
No, I'm not. No, you're not making it up.
And so when we talk about Ms. Geiger, the defendant, being, you know, a hard worker and respectful and all these other things, I mean, there are some times that it's not as respectful as you just displayed to that jury.
Okay. Well,
Is that a yes or no statement?
could you repeat the question, please? Just because.
For clarification,
Mhm.
you just displayed to this jury that she was a respectful person and she respected others. And I said, has been times where she has not been as respectful of the individuals that supervise her and then other individuals either with Dallas Police Department and or in the community.
Okay. Yes, that's correct. But it's not just a yes or no question either. You know. Would I be able to explain myself, ma'am? Is that okay?
Well, I'm sure he'll let you expound on what you want to talk about. And in fact, you talked about her getting out there and trying to help citizens and responding to the crisis in which the city was facing on that July 7th evening.
Yes.
And are you aware of the text messages that she sent about pepper spraying the citizens during the MLK parade?
No, ma'am.
And if she said something like that, would that shock you?
I would say it'd be out of character.
And would it also, has she ever mentioned to you, or are you aware that she's mentioned about the work ethic of different officers of different ethnicities?
No, she hasn't. We have not had any conversations about that.
And would it surprise you to know that she made a comment that I'm not racist, but we just work kind of different?
It would sound out of character for her.
That's the line of question, and I would still pursue.
Or do you have any questions?
Could I clarify a few things, Judge?
Yes.
So the prosecutor talked about these derogatory, disrespectful, awful comments that were made about your supervisor. Do you remember, did someone call him in a text thread Tubby?
Yes.
Did anyone call that to him to his face?
No, I don't believe so.
Was there any indication, did anyone not follow the sergeant's orders because they made a comment that they called him Tubby on the text thread?
No, sir.
All right, so that's the derogatory comment about the sergeant, correct?
From my understanding, yes.
All right. And the other comments, you're not aware of those, you aren't part of those text conversations, correct?
No, sir.
Do you have anything else, Ms. Long? Well, the defense attorney asked you, did y'all not follow his instructions? But there were moments in the CRT, at least according to the text thread, that you all did not always follow his instructions. Is that fair to say?
I mean, there's a lot of text messages, ma'am. So it's hard to say. I don't know what you're trying to get at, though. Could you explain a little bit more, please?
He used the word always. Always means just that, always. All the time.
Okay.
Did you always, all the time, follow everything you, the defendant, it was 5 of you all on that team, correct? Rivera,
Yes, ma'am.
Mark Rivera, all of you all. Did you always follow all the instructions that was given to you by that certain supervisor?
I can't say always. I think this is too much of a define, of a solid, because I think there's just a multiplicity of decisions and stuff like that are made throughout the time that we were there.
If that's fair. I'm not saying always. That was the word came from that person.
So let me be clear. You want the jury to hear that in the CRT's text thread, which included all of the persons working on the team, with the exception of the supervisor, there were derogatory comments about the supervisor, specifically calling him Tubby, and derogatory comments about his supervision.
Yes, Your Honor.
And your objection is?
Because it's not relevant to the issue at hand and the moral culpability of.
I'll sustain your objection. We won't go into her having referenced her supervisor as, well, I don't know if it was her or just a text thread, referencing the supervisor as Tubby or criticizing his supervisory style. Is there anything more that we need from Officer McPherson?
And asking him about the questions about the text message from the MLK.
Was he on that thread?
I don't believe, well,
No, he was not.
you know, I think it's a question to ask about her character, because that's what he's sitting there talking about.
And so you want to ask him if it was out of character for her to have described
Pepper spraying the public when he just talked about her trying to save the public?
Well, I think you all have those text threads in evidence.
Yes, Your Honor.
So in as much as he was not on the text thread, I will not allow you to ask him about that question.
She already asked him about that, and he said it was not in her character, that specific text message.
Can you ask her to bring the jury back? We'll probably keep it. Are you okay with this? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right. Thank you. You all may be seated.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Officer McPherson, is it fair to say that you're not with the defendant all times of the day?
Yes, that's correct.
Is it fair to say that you don't know what type of communications that she had with anybody other than with you?
That would be correct.
So you don't know what her character is, only what her character is with you is what you've seen.
Well, that's the only thing I can testify to, yes, what I've seen from her.
Possibly.
Nothing further.
May he be excused?
No objection.
No objection.
Thank you very much, officer.
Thank you, ma'am.
The defense would call Maribel Chavez.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Could you tell us your name, please, and spell your first and last name for the court reporter?
Yeah, it's Maribel Chavez, M-A-R-I-B as in boy, E-L-C-H-A-V-E-Z.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Where do you work?
I'm a retail store manager.
Do you know Amber Geiger?
Yes.
How long have you known her?
14 years or so.
Can you tell the jury about when y'all met?
Yeah. It was 9th grade. I started in the orchestra there, and that's where we met.
Did y'all become friends pretty quickly?
Yeah.
Can you describe a little bit your friendship?
Yeah, she's Amber's a very engaging person. She's very bubbly. Her energy's attracting. People just want to be around her.
Did y'all both play in orchestra in high school?
Yes.
Did y'all end up also performing in a mariachi band together?
Yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that.
My 10th grade year in high school, our high school band director started a mariachi group. So
I was so involved in extracurriculars that day, I happened to have nothing to do. So I said, okay, let me join the group. So I started playing, and Amber was playing with us, and she played violin when we started. She played trumpet with us too, and we took that after high school as well.
And were you aware of what type of career Amber was interested in?
She wanted to go into law enforcement.
Why was that?
She's just she's always wanted to take care of people, and she's a people person.
Yes. Ms. Chavez, I want to show you two pictures that have been marked as defendants exhibits number 97. Is this a picture of you and Amber together with the other members of the mariachi band?
Yes.
And the same with defendants exhibit number 98?
Yes.
Okay, both admitted may be published.
Thank you, Judge. What kind of relationship did all of you that played in the mariachi band have?
We were like sisters. Through high school, it was a really big group. When we graduated high school, we started our an all-female mariachi group. It was sisterhood. We were just really close.
In this photo, defendants exhibit number 97. This is Amber here in the middle.
Yes.
And this is you over here on the right.
Yes, ma'am.
Another photo, defendants exhibit number 98. Is this you to the left of Amber?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Chavez, what kind of person is Amber Guyger?
She's a protector. Anytime we've taken trips just to visit different cities, different states, she's always been the one to take care of us. She's very selfless. She's very caring. She just has a lot of love to give.
Ms. Chavez, a few weeks after the shooting on September 6, 2018, did you have an opportunity to see Amber?
Yes.
Can you explain what her demeanor was like?
She was very, it's like if you shut her light off. She's she's a very extroverted person. She loves people. But when I did get a chance to see her, it wasn't her. And she would go into her moments where she'd kind of try to chip her up, and then she just kind of fall right back.
Can you explain for the jury the remorse that you've seen from her?
She's had immense remorse. Amber has a lot of love to give, but Amber doesn't, even prior to this, Amber, I don't feels like she's worthy of love. That she's not worthy of a big love. So this happened, and she just does not feel like she deserves to have any kind of happiness. And anytime she even gets close to even like a smile, she kind of reverts back.
Why is it that she feels like she doesn't deserve to?
She feels remorseful, immense remorse.
Do you know what she's relied on this past year to deal day to day with what had happened?
Her family, her friends, faith. I don't really remember Amber being a person of faith through high school. And up until a couple years ago, I would say probably when she did join the force, she started looking into that. And then that's just really what's kept her up and her puppy.
So when she started with the academy is when you feel like her faith started to grow at that point.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
No questions, Rhonda.
May she be excused.
Well, justify your faith.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chavez.
The defense would call Brenda Solis.
Ms. Solis, please raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Could you tell us your name, please, and spell your last name for the court reporter?
Brenda Salas, Sales.
How old are you, Ms. Solis?
29.
Can you tell the members of the jury how you know Amber Geiger?
It's my best friend.
How long have you known her?
Since the 7th grade.
Where were y'all in school that you met?
Carter Junior High.
Can you tell the members of the jury how it was that you two became friends?
We met in orchestra. I didn't have any classes with Amber. I was the orchestra teacher. She would open the orchestra room for us as a safe place. Orchestra students, orchestra players sort of have a nickname for themselves. We're called Orc Dorks. She would open up the room as a safe place. And during this time, my family and I were going through some really hard times. I felt like I was alone. Like I couldn't talk to anybody about any of this stuff, and Amber was there to listen to me.
You mentioned that the orchestra teacher would open that room up for y'all as a safe place.
Yes.
Were you and Amber and some of the other kids somewhat bullied during that time?
Yeah.
Have you stayed close friends with Amber through high school and through college years and on?
Through high school. Again, didn't have any classes with her except for orchestra, and her and I were always usually in just around the same section. So her and I would, for the most part, or from time to time, share stands. So we would be together in there. Other than orchestra, I didn't have any other class or any other place where I would see her, but we still stayed in touch. After high school, I went to UTA and kind of lost contact with a lot of my friends. Amber and Maribel being two of them. I was just focused on my studies. Maribel and I saw her again and we sort of reconnected. We picked up right where we left off, and she would always surprise me and bring Amber, and that to me was always the
best gift that anyone could give me because she just has this light about her.
You mentioned that there was a period of time when you were really focused on your studies. What did you end up graduating with?
My degree is in exercise science.
And did you do undergraduate?
I did undergrad, and then I got my master's from LSU in Shreveport. I think it was May of 2018.
Was Amber there at your graduation?
Yes.
Yes. Let me show you what's been marked as defendants exhibits number 99 and 100. Do you recognize these as photos of you and Amber and Maribel from junior high and then also from later in life?
Yes.
It offers defendants exhibits 99 and 100. No objection, Your Honor. They're both admitted. Yes. That's exhibit 99. That's you on the right in the purple shirt?
Yes.
And Maribel in the middle?
Yes.
And then Amber on the left, is that right? And the three of you have stayed close friends up until this day, is that right?
Yes.
And that's exhibit 100. Is that you in the middle?
Yes.
And Amber's on the left?
Yes.
And Maribel's on the right?
Yes.
Where were y'all in this picture?
We went to Chicago. We went for the Rangers versus Cubs game. No, with it, yeah.
Nacelles, can you describe what kind of person Amber is to this journey?
She's a loving person, very caring, silly.
And how has that person that you know, that personality, how has that changed since September 6th, 2018?
I love her because of her silliness and the fact that she can always make us laugh. And after the horrible incident, I feel like she has to try harder to be that person, and it's not there anymore. She's not Amber anymore.
What kind of remorse have you seen from her regarding this incident?
So much. The last time that I saw her, she just told me that she just wanted to say sorry to his family.
No questions, Your Honor.
Yes, you do, excuse.
No objection from the state.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms.
Thank
Stossel.
you.
Your Honor, the defense would call Lawanda Park.
Please raise your right hand if you sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give, excuse me, will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you very much.
Could you state your first and last name, please, and spell both for the court reporter?
Lawanda Clark,
capital WANDA CLARK.
And how old of a woman are you, Ms. Clark?
I am 67 years old.
Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
How many kids do you
I have 3 living.
3 living children right now?
Yeah.
Do you have grandkids as well?
Yes, I do.
How many grandkids?
I have 9.
I'm sorry?
9.
9 grandkids. And do you currently work?
Yes, I do. I'm employed at Walgreens, and I'm also working at the State Fair of Texas.
Do you know Amber Geiger?
Yes, I do.
Throughout your adulthood, have you struggled with a crack cocaine addiction?
I have.
In May of 2017, how was it that you came to know Amber Geiger?
I was at a drug house that day, and the police came and made us all come out. And I didn't see Amber as a policewoman that day, as a policeman at all. I saw Amber as a human being. You know, she kept coming to me and she told me, she said, you don't fit the profile. You know, she said, what are you doing here? You know, and she came up to me several times, you know, saying things similar to that. In other words, she let me know that I mattered. You know, that she just didn't see me as an addict, you know. And as time went on, you know, and it ended up that day, and she wrote the ticket. She said, now you can do 1 or 2 things with this ticket. She said, you can either continue on the road that you're on, or you can let this be your ticket out. And that's what I chose to do.
So that day, how many people were in that house with you?
About 8 to 10.
And before the police arrived, were y'all all using drugs?
Yes.
You say that Amber mentioned y'all got tickets, and she talked about this ticket is either 2 things you can do, either keep using drugs or use it as a ticket for life to start over.
Right.
So y'all got issued Class C tickets, is that right?
Right.
And that was for drug paraphernalia that was visible to the officers? Is that right?
That's right.
And where did you have to go with that ticket?
With that ticket, I went to the South Dallas Community Court, where they had a program set up. And I had like so many tickets. My life had become a disaster. So I started the program there, and I started to live again. I did my IOP, I did my SOP, and the first time that I phased up in that program was the first time in a long time that I felt like I made an accomplishment.
Did you end up graduating from that program?
Yes, I did. And Amber came to my graduation.
Yes. I'm going to show you what's been marked as defense exhibit number 101. Do you recognize this photo?
Yes.
Is that a photo of you and Amber from your graduation? From
Yes,
that
it is.
Community drug program?
Yes.
Well, for Defense 101.
No objection, Your Honor.
It's a permission to publish that? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Clark, how did it make you feel that day that Amber took the time to visit with you and ask you what was going on in your life that caused you to end up at that dope house?
It made me feel so human. It really empowered me that day. It really made me feel like, it really made me stop and think, you know, really, what am I doing here?
Did
You
any
know,
of- I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Did any of the other officers who were there pull anybody else aside and visit?
I don't know if they did. I don't know if they did. I mean, I was in such a state. You know, I'm thinking of, what is this going to do to my family? You know, if this goes in a bad direction. I was so ashamed, is what it was. You know, so I really don't know what else is going on. I just wanted it to be over. Let me go. You know, and I sat there on the porch and I prayed, you know, and I asked God, I said, if you let me get out of this, I'm done. And I have not gone back.
And that was your day of sobriety?
Yes,
right?
indeed. Yes, indeed.
And your graduation from that drug program, that picture that we see in Defense 101, that was a kind of a restart of life for you in a way, is that
Yes,
right?
it was.
And that was the day that you, in fact, sought out having Amber come there, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, how did that work?
Well, I asked when I was coming up for graduation, I asked Judge Williams if I could have the police officer that wrote me the ticket come to my graduation, because I wanted her to know what an impact she made on my life. You know what I mean?
And what was the reaction that Amber had at your
Oh, she was elated. I don't know who was more excited, if it was her or if it was me. You know, just to know that I made it. You know, that I really did take that ticket as my ticket out. You know, and recovery is in my life every day. I have my family back. I have my children back. I have my grandchildren. I have a life now. I'm gainfully employed. You know, I have an automobile. I have a place to live. You know, bills are paid. Credit score is going up. You know what I mean?
After the shooting on September 6th of 2018, did you try to reach out to Amber?
Yes.
How did you do that?
I went to community court and I asked Officer Joe, you know, because I would go there and I speak. I'd go over there and I do a little mentoring now. And they all met me at the door and they said, well, I know you heard about Amber, but it didn't affect me, I think, the way that they thought it would. But they all rallied around me. So I would get cards and different things and send them to Amber to, you know, lift her up and let her know that I loved her. You know, because I mean, she's a human being. You know, at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the day, she's still a human being.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. I'll pass the witness.
Ms. Clark, congratulations on your sobriety.
Thank you, thank you.
May she be excused.
No objection from the state.
Thank you very much, Ms. Clark.
So we approach Judge.
We're gonna take your lunch break. You heard my phone that was them telling me they were late. They said they'd be here about this time. So we're gonna take your lunch break. We'll start back at 1:30.
All right.
Lunch break.
Or a break for lunch, I guess. I'm sorry. Because we don't have anything to do.
What time is it?
1:30.
Yes, ma'am.
So an hour for lunch. Okay. So what I'm going to probably do is end this stream and then start up a new one, if that's okay with you, Kay. Because I mean, I would hate to have a 6-hour stream, and that's, I don't know, that's looking like what this is going to end up being is 6 hours. So I'll go ahead and end the stream. I'll schedule another one for an hour from now, if that's okay with you all. Plus my chat's froze anyways. I can't see what you all have said for the past hour anyways. And hopefully the freezer guy comes within the hour to fix my freezer. So much love, everybody in the chat. I'll kick over to YouTube and chat with you guys for a few minutes. And then I'll go ahead and schedule the next stream. Much love, guys.